Alright, I was able to review the original animation, I had a lot of fun doing that, and now let's talk about the remake. Alright, so Beauty and the Beast, obviously it is a remake of the old Disney movie from the 90s. This is probably one of the most anticipated movies of the year for a lot of people. Basically, the story is the same as the animation. There's a prince, he's turned into a beast, and then there's Belle, whose father got kidnapped by the beast, but then Belle takes his place, and now Belle's living with the beast in his castle, and they have to fall in love before the last petal on the rose falls, because if they don't do that, then everyone in the castle is gonna stay the little trinkets forever. So if you guys saw my review of the original Beauty and the Beast, you know it's one of my favorite Disney movies. That's one of those movies when I think of, that is about as close to perfect of a movie as you can ever get. There's few movies where I think that Beauty and the Beast, it's definitely one of them. And because of that, there's a lot of nostalgia wrapped into Beauty and the Beast, and because of that, I am going into this movie with some expectations. The movie met some expectations, and it kind of failed to reach a couple others. I'll say that I enjoyed pretty much everybody in the movie. I thought Emma Watson was good as Belle. This is kind of an interesting movie to peg down, because this and the original Beauty and the Beast, they both play out like Broadway musicals. That can translate into the way that the movies are shot, the way the sets are designed, and the way that the people act in the movie. And because this movie is basically a Broadway musical, you'd expect Emma Watson's singing to be amazing, and she can carry a tune. And her singing was fine in the movie, but when you go back and you compare it to the original animation, which, let's face it, that's just inevitable, it does fall a little short at a few times. That being said, when she's interacting with the beast and when she's interacting with all the little candlesticks and the clocks and all of that, I thought that she was really good. I also really liked Dan Stevens as the beast, and I really liked Josh Gad and Luke Evans as LeFou and Gaston. What's kind of interesting is I was most invested in the plot with Belle and the beast, as I should be, because the movie's Beauty and the Beast, so that whenever it cut back to LeFou and Gaston, I was like, alright, we need to advance the plot, whatever, let's just get this going, and then we can go back to the castle. But whenever we would cut to them and the scene would be going, I was watching and I was like, actually, I am enjoying this. I did still want to get back to Belle and the Beast, but I did think that Gaston and LeFou in this movie were really fun. They had cool chemistry. I would say all of the characters in this movie are pretty good, pretty solid, accurate representations of how they were in the cartoon. And there were some times in this movie the music hits, it's really cool, really great. You're reminded of why you loved Beauty and the Beast back in the day. And there's a couple times in this movie where it does kind of hit you a little bit. And I can recognize that all of that is nostalgia, but it does take a little bit of craft to flicker that nostalgia, and this movie was able to do that in a couple scenes. Like I was saying earlier, this movie feels like a Broadway musical, so some of the character designs, they do look a little stage-esque, and some of the camera angles and the acting, it feels like they're in a Broadway musical, but I kind of bought into it for this movie. That doesn't happen with all movies. Like Into the Woods, I didn't really buy into it that much. Even in the animated movie, everybody acted like they would in a Broadway musical, but it's an animated movie, so you can give a pass to it, because animated characters are naturally animated. That's why it's an animation. However, that didn't always work in the movie, and I think that does show that animation is the best format for the Beauty and the Beast story. Because while I did buy into it for the most part, there were a few scenes when people were kind of overacting, or they're really emoting and singing, and they just break out into song. And I'm all for live action princess movies. I mean, The Princess Bride, that movie's amazing. But still, there were some times when I was like, are you a live action movie, or are you a cartoon that in a live action movie's body? Now, the interesting thing with this movie, and this is kind of the whole no-end situation with remakes, especially remakes that are based off of really good movies, is they do add in new stuff into this movie, and the new stuff they add in, it's interesting enough, but I could have done without, basically all of it. And I've heard complaints of this movie where people are like, oh, it's just a straight up shot for shot remake of the original, and this movie didn't need to happen. But then the alternative is they do put in these extra scenes, and then you're like, whoa, that's not the Beauty and the Beast I grew up with. What's happening? But did you want the Beauty and the Beast you grew up with, or did you want the remake? How I try to judge remakes, I try to look at them like this. Is there anything that this remake gave me that the original Beauty and the Beast was not able to give me? This movie does remind me of a lot of really good scenes in Beauty and the Beast, but I can't really think of a scene in this movie that was outright completely better than the animated movie. So in that, while I did enjoy this movie, I had fun with it, it was really cool, it was really well designed. Obviously, a lot of craft and care went into this movie, but in the end, is it a good remake? Because at no point did I feel like it elevated the source material. I'll say it like this, I think Beauty and the Beast is a good companion piece to the original Beauty and the Beast. It did retain the spirit of the original, and the costume design and the sets and all that was really cool. There were a couple of moments, like, in the dance scene, for example, when it really does feel like this animated movie has come to life in live action. But I didn't walk out of this movie like I did with Jungle Book, where I was like, whoa, that is my definitive version of the Jungle Book. I love this movie. The animated version, it's there, I'll still watch it, but I mean, come on, this live action version's great. I walked out of this one like, yeah, the live action one was good, but I'll probably just go back to watching the animation. I will say it was interesting to watch this movie because it was interesting seeing how Beauty and the Beast would play out in a live action format. I am kind of mixed on the whole movie. Overall, the movie is cool, but the movie does not improve upon the original in any way. At the most, it just kind of makes par with it. I will say that I'm going positive with this movie, and I would recommend seeing it, if only just for that intrigue and the fact that it is interesting seeing Beauty and the Beast ported to live action. And everyone in the movie is good. Emma Watson, Dan Stevenson, even all the supporting cast, Ewan McGregor, Ian McKellen, Emma Thompson, did her best as Mrs. Potts. It's really hard to replace Angela Lansbury, but I thought Emma Thompson did a good job with it. So see the movie if you're interested in seeing how Beauty and the Beast translates into live action. I thought it was an interesting take on the movie. It was cool to watch that first time. I don't know how often I'm gonna go back and rewatch this movie though, because we have an animated movie that's awesome and it's amazing and it's just one of the best Disney movies ever. I am still mixed on this movie, but at the end of the day, I would say it's worth seeing. Check it out if you're interested in seeing how Beauty and the Beast ports over to live action. But if you have seen Beauty and the Beast, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys liked it, you can click subscribe and check out some of my other videos, and I'll catch you guys next time.